let's talk about the PL2020, what you did, because you took a device that's been around for so long and made that and improved on it and got it there. And now one of the really cool things that I became so interested in was the fact that you used a flat crystal cuvette. You didn't use plastic. You didn't use rounds. Can you go into why you did that? Because it seems logical. When I heard it, I go, oh, that makes sense. But no one ever did it before.
I don't understand it either. So I go back to my studies, and I noticed that the Knot had a flat designed cuvette, and he was getting the maximum results from it. When I looked at from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, they kind of manufactured the device to maximize the profits off of it. And what I mean by that is you can go and order tubular cuvettes or tubular crystal, and it's a couple of dollars. So it's very simple. Attach your lines to the tubular cuvette. When I started researching that scientifically, it didn't take a lot. When light hits a tube, what happens? Well, it bends.
Yep.
So the penetration to the blood that's flowing through this tube is getting approximately 13%, and we've done scientific studies out of Louisiana on this. It's getting 13% of the light. The other factor was, Casper, is that the devices that were out there had fixed lights that were 2 inches away from the tube or an inch away. And there's no calibration. There was no actual specific testing on ultraviolet lights. Now, the UVB light, we didn't find any at this point. We haven't found any medical benefit to the UVB light of the blood. Now, externally, it has benefits to the skin. The UVA and the UVC, the germicidal and the bacterial lights, had the best effect. So if you run it through a tubular crystal cuvette, you're going to get 13% of what that light should be maximizing at. So I designed, and it took me a while to design this cuvette that, and the reason for that is the flow. The blood flow has to go at a certain rate, and we normally have it at a drop per second, which means that the time that your blood's hitting the beginning part of the flat cuvette and penetrating through our chamber, which is patented, and coming at the other end has to get the maximum level of irradiation that's allowable to that blood. And so we did a ton of testing, and we came up with the solution that was generic for everybody. It's going to have the same effect, and the flow through the irradiation chamber is going to be maximized. With the tubular cuvette, the other thing that I've noticed is that these are the folks that were saying you only need to do 60 cc's of blood. So, I did do that. I found that it helped me for a day or two. It didn't alleviate any of skin conditions or headaches or make my eyesight better or whatsoever. But by utilizing the resources that we had and calibrated the lights, so the UVA lights calibrated at a certain nanometer, the UVCs calibrated at a certain nanometer, it's placed at a distance that will not harden or hurt the blood through the crystal cuvette that we've designed, and the flow rate is very important. And so that's what we've done. It took us a while to design and scientifically prove my theory, and we hit the nail on the head with it, I do believe, Casper. So this will be our flagship for the next device, which will hopefully tie us to the cloud and be automatically managed remotely. So
are there benefits to the use of crystals aside from the negative of plastic that may be there?
Yes. So the crystal is the only, outside of fusion, silica. So in our device, the bottom plate, and I noticed the previous devices had issues of spillage. Let's assume that the tube wasn't on the crystal tube properly and you got a leak. Well, it went right down into the chamber, which could have blown the whole device out and maybe electrocuted somebody. In our device, we used a filament called fused silica. It's actually a gas that's hardened, and it does not bend UVC or UVA light at all. It's like it's not even there. If you take a piece of glass, now glass you can buy in different formulas, but the best formula of glass, the cleanest formula of glass that we can get, bent and almost eliminated, filtered the UVC light almost 90%. So glass you can't use. And you're probably well aware of that. Anderson Windows or the window companies sell you glass, and they say, we'll sell you this tinted. You can't see it, but what it's doing is it's stopping the UV light from coming through that piece of glass. So the minerals and materials that we used were very scientifically proven to maximize what we needed to do. And we needed to irradiate that blood and not burn it, because UVC light could do that at 254 nanometers, which is the maximum potential of the UVC light. If you had it too close, if the flow was too slow, and if you even put it through the tubular, it will start hardening and coagulating. And so that's how we derived of the flat crystal cuvette.
There's a lot of precision that goes into this, right? I mean, you're talking about different wavelengths by the nanometer could have such a difference. The flow could have such a difference. Even the amount you pull out, I understand it can coagulate if you do it too slow or you don't have an So there are a lot of things that need to go into this. But of course, this has been studied for a long time and is quite safe where it is right now, correct?
It has. Okay. I can see you now. Yeah, good.